have like exactly like no bells and whistles, just like us.
I put bells and whistles. I want my bells and whistles. So if everything goes to shit, I'll delete my bells and whistles. But I love my scrolling text.
Sound.
And I did restart. Although I restarted before my voice lesson. So I didn't, it's not a fresh restart. So Harry, you should be able to see a preview in the green room. It might be one of a little green arrow tab.
Yeah.
Where is Gina? Okay, cool. Oh, Gina's camera turned off. Oh, murder me. Let me see what's going on here. Gina, did you know that your camera's off? She sees her. Well, no one else sees you.
I can see Gina. I can't hear her. But
yeah, it's come on, live. Oh, there we go. For some reason, okay, so I just don't have a preview. Okay, that's all right, cool. Which is fine. That's fine with me. I'll just watch it on my computer. Yeah, that's whatever. All right, how to get and Gina, you're on the stream. You're just not here with me and Harry. So oh, and I can't hear you now.
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
I can't hear you now. So, if you could go ahead. I can't. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, thanks. We're live. Great. Gina left. Okay.
How about now?
Well, we can wait.
Go.
Wait, where? Go. Huh? Who?
I can hear Gina now.
Okay.
Doreen, can you hear? I can't see. I can neither see nor hear her.
Oh, really?
So
you're the only. My mom's
got a. Why is it not sending to the green room? That's so strange.
Yeah, Harrison can
hear all of us. And Harry can hear Gina and see her. Can you see her?
Yep.
Well, she left. Well, now no one can see her because she left.
I'm here.
No, she's still there. I still see her.
Why can't I see Gina? Why can't I see you?
I don't know.
Because it says your webcam is activating. ... Yeah, right. I don't know,
Harry.
man.
Sorry, Harry.
I think we're cursed.
It's nice to see like this is like the behind the scenes of.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's usually a lot better.
I don't know what's going on. She can't hear me.
Hi, while I figure this out, this is Harry Smalley, who, wait for that to be responsive. Harry is one of our friends, and he's a friend of the show, and he's been on before as a guest, but he decided he wanted to tell a story. So we're like, absolutely. And we're going to have him tell a story as soon as I can get this shit together because, hold on. Yes, I know. Yeah, there you go.
Harry, can you hear me?
Let me delete one of these.
Yes, I can.
Okay. But Andrea can't? This is great.
It says it is activating your webcam, the light stream. Isn't this fun? Isn't this so fun?
That's really weird.
Oh, boy. I gotta. Gina joined the room. Gina left the room.
No,
why is it telling me you're leaving and coming back? That's so weird.
I'm not.
Well, hold on. Choose device. Andrea's Harry's. Okay. Where is your microphone? Oh man, I can't. Hold on. Hold on. Last ditch effort. I'm gonna leave and come back. But I'm not. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, maybe if I threaten to leave again. I'm gonna leave this light stream. Gina, I can see you in the green room now. Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
Nope. Yes.
You can?
Holy Christ. I can.
What happened?
I have no freaking idea. You know what? Maybe it glitched when it went to load the preview because it's being kind of a dick. But you know what? I can see your face.
Okay.
I have my phone on. I'm watching it on my phone. I can see your face. You're not in the scene that I'm looking at right now, but listen, I'm not going to argue if this is what.
Yeah, if you can see me and you can hear me, don't do anything. Just let it go. Because I think everyone else, they all left.
No. No.
Yeah, guys, I had tech issues. Audience, lovely audience. I had tech issues when I came on too, and I think Andrea thought I was a fruitcake. But I swear, I told her I don't unplug anything. I literally just put it in a basket and take it out every time. So I think we are really cursed.
Yeah.
But in a good way, but also in a ghost thinks it's funny way.
Yeah. Listen, if it wants to be on, it needs to approach us at a convenient time, complete its case, and we would be happy. We would be happy. However, whatever, if there's anything, it's not welcome in my house, just so that it knows. But I think
I'm all for hijinks, Thanks, Mom.
That's great. That's such a nice way to say that. That's so incredibly nice.
Your failures every time.
Yeah. Only a mom can roast you so completely. But it's Friday, it's happy hour. We usually do whatever, but this time we're going to do a case. We're going to do a story. We have Harry here.
A little background. I was thinking about it. Harry has been just so good to us when we were doing live shows. He was our guest 500 times.
Yes. And one time because I stage kidnapped you.
Yeah, one time he wasn't even our guest, and Andrea thought he was just because he happened to be there, and so he was forced to do it. No, you had done it so many times that after the last show, I think you were like, I would love to tell a story. And I was like, ooh. And then we were ironing things out with this, of course, still ironing things out. But I was like, you know what, we really need to get Harry on to tell his story. So
yes,
it's been a couple months, but we are finally.
We finally got all our kinks ironed out.
Yeah, kind of. Except not. I should have asked Santa for a whole other set of gifts, a new microphone and a new headset and a new camera. But I mean, hindsight. So
yeah. By
the way, I have just decided to just make as much noise. I hope you don't hear them as anything that they can make noise with. They're doing right now. They're being terrible.
Our favorite Crime and Cookies fan, Harrison, wants to know. Well, obviously that's a trick question because it's Harrison. Yeah. I'm sorry, Harry. I know you're right here in front of me and have graciously come on the show.
You can't ask that kind of question.
You can't ask that kind of question because I can't not say you. Also, Harrison subscribed and has gifted subs. Yeah. So, and I found out how we can unlock more fancy 2020 emojis.
Oh, good.
It's if someone subscribes or gifts a sub, or if someone cheers with at least 300 bits, we'll unlock another emoji. And it's only till the 16th. So the only shows that we can do it on are
tonight and
Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you want the 2020 emotes, shake out your couch cushions, babes.
Oh, and I think you can't ask for favorites because it's like picking a favorite sibling or a favorite pet. Right. You can't do that.
And
I consider you our pets, but I'm just saying of people you can't choose between people you love, who you love more. That's not fair.
It's not like parents who always definitely do have a favorite child.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
We love you all equally. And guess what? You're adopted. We've adopted you. Neil subscribed here.
What a
Yay.
pal.
I love it. Boom, boom, subscribed. Amazing. Yay. Cool. If you get an emote, share it with the community. I want to see what the next one is.
My mom said no favorites?
What?
Your mom? No favorite? Is that why she said no? Or she's saying no?
She might be saying no that she doesn't have a favorite child, but that's nice.
Okay.
That's sweet. We'll live in that fiction. That's fine.
Sophie's choice.
Sophie's choice. You got to do it. Me and my brother, as adults, someone made a crack about him being the favorite child, and we were both like, "Yep, we know. We've known forever." They didn't even try to hide it.
Yeah, she's lying. My brother is clearly the favorite.
She's deleting you.
Say no, but
oh, you know what? I have Nightbot on to get rid of some spam, and it doesn't like when people use a lot of emojis, which is stupid. That's how we communicate.
I know.
And I keep meaning to go and solve that tech issue that is very solvable, but I just, I don't. Reminds me of the subplot in The Crown about favorite children in the royals. And I love how Prince Philip was like, of course I know my favorite child. It's Princess Anne. Like,
no, I'm not jealous at all. It's a misunderstanding that I'm jealous. I'm not jealous at all. It's just, actually, Eddie is now
Eddie's the favorite. That's the dog for anyone who doesn't know.
Eddie gets hand-fed. Eddie has.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Eddie is like a little prince, so it's Eddie, and it's fine. He should be. He's very sweet, and he's a good dog. He doesn't talk back really. He's always there. He's never going to leave. So, Harry, you don't have siblings, do you?
I have 3 sisters, actually.
You do?
So,
yeah. He was an only child. I don't know why.
Nope.
Interesting. Nope. Are they older or younger?
I have 2 older sisters and a younger sister.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So are you the favorite as the only boy? Or is the youngest the favorite?
My sisters would say that, yeah. They always said that I got away with things because I have a penis. So,
well, boys aren't like little boys are. I mean, there are differences, but are usually mom's favorite. So
yeah,
it's hard not to.
Like my brother.
Yeah, it's true. They're just dear, and they know how to like say the right things, and
So you fall for their manipulation.
Yes, I do.
Whereas
absolutely.
a daughter who loves you enough to be direct with you gets shut out in the cold.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Like this morning, I told Judy was so handsome, and he was like, "You are so beautiful." That works every time.
I would do that.
I waited a lifetime to hear
Neil says the real crime Harry wants to talk about is the patriarchy. So we had him on. Harry is an expert in the patriarchy. He's going to tell us how to dismantle it as a man. He's going to mansplain it to us.
Spread out. Pretty soon we're not going to fit in our screen.
So Doreen, so in your family, as now you're the sibling, you know who the favorite is. Oh, because your brother is mom's fave.
But you are Pop's fave.
Well, that's even.
Yeah.
That's even. As long as it's like split, as long as you're someone's favorite.
I was nobody's favorite. That's fine.
Listen, I'm nobody's favorite.
I'm jealous. I mean, I'm not jealous at all. Like, now I have a son. He's my only son, but he's still my favorite. Sorry, Bodhi. Oh my God, they're jealous of each other. Like, if I tell Bodhi he's so handsome, Jude's like, "Well, you haven't told me I was handsome today." I'm like, "Come on."
Oh my God,
it's a cat.
Your son is all lives are handsoming you.
Mom, you haven't told me I was handsome today. Or he'll be like, "Why do you give Bodhi more kisses than you give me?" And I'm like, "It's because he's a cat."
Because he can't understand words.
Yeah. I'm like, I said, "Hey, he's going to live a lot less than, like, he's going to have a shorter life than you. I just want to make it happy while he's here."
Yeah, that's a good excuse. That's good. That's good rationality.
Mm-hmm.
My parents used to make fun of how weird I was as a baby.
Aw.
Like, to my face. Although Neil says that reasoning with your cat is dark.
I mean, it's true. I mean, the cats are just, I tell them they're sweet, they're innocent, they don't have any malice. Like,
Cats?
and I told Jude, like, I carried you in my womb for 9 months. You're clearly the favorite. Don't worry about it. I said, do you have everything you want in this world? Yes. Well then,
Okay.
calm down.
All right. So we also have, because I'm looking at our preview on my phone since I can't see it on my computer, because I'm not breathing in the direction of this technology. I think I'm also going to just like keep this scene and not do any scene switching because God forbid, since we have it, since it's like, let's not. We have a little tip jar. It's this side, this side, over here. No, wait. You know, I'm not going to point at it. It's in the lower right corner. Yeah, and every time something happens,
we see it.
We see it.
We know
it. Thank you. Tips are appreciated. Anyway, moving on.
I'm gonna while you're I'm just gonna grab something I forgot. So I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
It's fine. I'll just vamp.
Let's vamp.
Huh? Let's vamp.
Yeah, let's vamp.
How are you doing, Harry?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm tired.
Me too. No, like, have you noticed during quarantine you're sleeping a lot more? I am. I mean, I'm also unemployed and depressed, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, no.
Gina, we're having a fun time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't take your time. This is great.
I went to get a plate and I got a measuring cup. I don't know why.
Wait,
we've all made that mistake.
Yeah, there's a measuring cup. I put down the plate and I picked up a measuring cup, and then I was almost here, and I'm like, what am I doing with this measuring cup?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask. Harry, you put something up on, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but you put something up on social media the other, like maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago that made me laugh. I thought about it like multiple times. It was that.
That's dangerous. I put up a lot of things. It was
weird. A sign at your work, and like people were just like
back
and forth on the sign, and I was like,
yeah, we are at my job. We're in the middle of like a union negotiation.
Yay!
So outside of the bathroom, they put up like a sign about the next meeting. And basically, these two people got into an argument on the sign. We should, strike. And the other person's like, no, you should be happy with what you have. It's a pandemic, and it's like a whole. And they just like wrote it out on the sign. It was like watching a Twitter argument.
It was
very slowly.
It was so beautiful because it's just like it was like, what a way to have an argument. It was like
definitely art,
aggressive, right? Like on your way to the bathroom, the person just like pulling out a pen.
Yeah.
Or like takes a pen to the bathroom because they remember, they're like, I'm gonna see that sign. All right, today I'm gonna write how I feel. All right, let's go to the bathroom.
Well, I guess it started with somebody walking by and like commenting negatively, and the other person was like, who wrote on my sign? And like, it was just like, it was so good. I just kept thinking of, it felt so much like The Office or something. So ridiculous that people, I was like, this is going to be, in my mind, I was like, this meeting is going to be great.
Oh God.
In the parking lot, right? It was like a parking lot meeting.
Yeah. They were having it in the parking lot. I didn't go because, I don't want to go into a place with a lot of crowded people.
Right.
But I'm told the meeting went well. So.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So funny to me.
Yeah.
So sorry if I put you in blast, but
I actually saw that happen. I didn't see it. I saw it on Twitter in the wild. That happened. There was one of those lane closed or shoulder is closed. Please move or whatever. And a biker had written like, fuck you in our bike lanes. And then the construction people wrote, actually, we're building you the bike lane. That's why it's closed. And then the biker was like, oh, sorry, I was very drunk. Thank you very much.
Wait, you were drunk and riding a bike?
Not me.
Not you, but the person.
A person. It can be done.
That was nice.
You shouldn't. Please don't.
You have to get a ticket for that.
I know.
Yeah.
It was nice though that had like a happy ending. That was like a whole beginning, middle, and end.
I was
Like,
oh,
there's,
it's
you know, because that guy went from like 0 to 70. It was unnecessary. And then I like that they were like, instead of like getting into an FU battle, that he was just like, we're trying to help you.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, I'm so sorry.
Neil is right. Drunk bike riding is far safer than drunk driving because most likely you will just fall over. And if you hit someone, and you're probably going a lot slower than
Right.
you usually do. So even if you hit someone,
I think
the damage will be worse.
I
Not
think
worse.
you're putting drivers at risk though, because
If you're in the road, yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of be sober on the road, please.
I mean, if you're trail riding and drunk, I mean, that's just between you and the trees.
Go
But if
for it.
you're on
Fall
the
in a
road,
ditch.
I think you have some explaining to do.
Yeah, so I have a little true crime news. Does anyone else have any true crime news before I
I just had the thing that I think everybody in the world listens to My Favorite Murder, and Kat famously at the end of every episode she just says, "Elvis, you want a cookie?" and he goes, "Meow." And she died, and so it's like a big, it's sad. Like I feel for her. I know that loss, and so that was a true crime-esque news.
Neil is doing a rant about drunk bike riding. You can drunk bike ride, Neil. It's fine.
Okay, Neil. I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm thinking about you accidentally getting into a situation where a car hits you and they didn't intend to hit you, but because you were crazy drunk riding. I'm sorry.
It's 2020. It's self-care. You do what you have to do.
Do what you want to do.
Seriously.
Right? Get out your skateboard drunk. Get out your bike drunk. Get out your razor scooter. It's fine. Whatever you want.
Just if you need if you need to get drunk, it's 2020. Listen, I'm not here to challenge anyone's sobriety. Just saying.
No judgment, but just on my behalf, a little judgment. But that's fine. Go ahead, Andrea, with your news.
Another of the Zodiac Killer's ciphers was just uncoded.
Saw that.
And it says, I hope you're having fun looking for me. I'm not afraid of the gas chamber because now I'll go straight to paradise, and now I have enough people to serve me there. Which is kind of bananas.
And he wrote that in what year?
I don't know.
She?
I skimmed. Mm-hmm. Like you.
My in-depth reading is skimming, yeah.
I find it interesting that Harrison doesn't like My Favorite Murder, and yet he loves our show because we're very similar. We just do a lot of talking.
They're the best at it, but yeah.
He doesn't like them. He likes us.
Well, thank you, Harrison. Very sweet.
That's why you're our favorite.
Let's get that on a few billboards, whatever.
Yeah, right. So my other true crime news has to do with Taylor Swift. Obviously, because the surprise album came out today. I know that you are both huge Taylor Swift fans, so you've listened to it and poured over every lyric, right?
More Harry than
me. I stan Taylor Swift. Is that the?
Do you really? No, me
sure.
Too. So she wrote a song called "No Body, No Crime," and it's amazing. It's like "Goodbye Earl." And it's like Gunpowder and Lead, and it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I don't want to spoil it for you by like telling you how good the lyrics are. But basically, it's a murder triangle. It's very good. And someone posted that the video to it in our Philadelphianos group, and under it, someone else was like, well, she has tracks named Marjorie and Dorothea, and that might also relate to there was a disappearance in her hometown, an old-timey one. A girl named Marjorie was out picking flowers with her sister Dorothea and disappeared, never to be seen again. And there are 2 tracks on the album that are named after them, and the Dorothea one is very poignant. It's like, I didn't know that I would lose you so quickly. I would have remembered your smile. I would have counted your eyelashes, like that kind of thing. So it could be about that.
Where is she from again? She's from local. Right?
She's from like Wilkes-Barre area, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I didn't know that Amanda Seyfried is from Allentown.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I saw her doing press for her new movie, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And then we all knew. I saw Aubrey Plaza on Seth Meyers, and I knew she was from Delaware.
Yeah.
That was no
big
shock.
We have good celebrities.
We do. We live in a great part of the country.
Neil knows exactly where. Wyomissing near Reading.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, that's where Taylor Swift is from. Yeah.
Because I always get it confused with Wissinoming from the northeast Philly because of the
right.
spelling, but it's not the same at all. But yeah.
So should we turn things over to Harry? That's all of my true crime news.
Yeah, we should. Oh,
but
if I may, just the other night when we were talking about, I'm gonna have more of an update on Tuesday on this. If you'll indulge me on Tuesday for like 5 minutes, but one thing I was thinking about is like that, like we were talking about if the world dark or like are people mostly bad or people mostly good, and my mom said like that. She thinks like because I listen to too much true crime, and I was like thinking about that, and I was like, I don't think that's it, because like when I listen to true crime, it really is like you put in one of our merch things, like it really is self-care. Like I don't look at it as like people are bad in the world. Like I see true crime is like I've met people who are really great people who are into it, and that people who care about like social justice and like solving crimes and being good, and I've learned about like survival, like you can survive pretty much anything, like things that you could never survive. I think it's just I was really thinking about this a lot the other night before I went to bed, and I really think it's just the world this year. I'm pretty sure it's just the world this year that has changed my point of view on that. So I didn't want you all, like I didn't want people watching to be like, oh, if I keep watching this true crime, I'm gonna become dark. Like actually I actually feel better being part of I just like disturbing stories. Like they're and I always have since I was like young. If I saw something in the newspaper, I was like, or if we got like the local, because we lived in a very rural town, and there was like a local paper from like the town over, and I always looked at the crime blotter. That was like the first thing I wanted to know about, and it was always lame, like somebody like something. It was never like murder, which is what you kind of deep down always don't want to see, but want to see.
Right. I love Now Citizen is kind of like the crime blotter, but the kinds of things that end up on Citizen. Have you ever seen in your neighborhood like woman armed with broom?
No, it doesn't work here. I live in a too rural of an area.
Oh, yeah. I never check it, but it's so funny. It'll be like, man armed with candlestick, and you're like, really? Is this clue? Like, it's funny. Did you get the OJ comic book?
Okay,
Wait,
so
what?
I'm gonna let me grab it because I'm gonna share it another night. Hold on one second. It's right here.
Say OJ comic book?
OJ, yeah. You just see my eyebrows? She's gonna explain that to us.
Alexa, stop. If you whisper, I still hear you. So
Alexa's mumbling under her breath at
Harrison shared with us or me this OJ comic that he found at the thrift store, and I was like, I want it, not because I definitely, and I figured we could talk about it one night. So I'll show the cover, but we can talk about it another night because I haven't opened it yet. Because I was like, I'm not going to open this until we're live.
Okay.
I want to.
We'll experience it together. Yeah. No, that's a good idea.
So, but I wanted to be clear. Like, I feel so deeply for Nicole Brown Simpson and for, oh my God, I forgot his last name because I'm
Ron Goldman.
Ron
Goldman. That's it. Like, I feel so deeply for them, and I never want to like make fun of anything. Like, that is a terrible crime. That being said, I kind of am low key like interested in OJ just because it was like so huge. It was such a big part of pop culture. And so anyway, Harrison shared this and I was like, I must have it. I don't know why. I was like, I must have that. And I'm so scandalized by the cover. Like I can't even with the cover. So I'm so sorry, but this is the cover of it. And it's just like, can you see it? The ring light is kind of
move it in front of your face a little bit.
Is that supposed to be Kato Kalin?
No, I think that's Ron Goldman, which is scandalizing me. But maybe it is Kato Kalin.
I think that is Kato.
That's Robert Shapiro.
That's Robert Shapiro? Oh, I thought that was the Kardashian. This is
maybe it might be. I don't know. I get them confused.
I hate what they did with Nicole Brown. Like, why are they making her look sexy?
Right, like she's on a pulp adventure comics cover.
Yeah, it's terrible.
What are you doing there?
And OJ just looks. I mean,
He just looks whatever.
Oh, I'm so glad that's not Ron Goldman because I was like so upset by that. I was like, it's so terrible. His face does not look like, I don't know. No, none of them look like this. And I thought that was the Kardashian one.
Robert Kardashian.
It's very badly drawn, and I'm very upset about the way Nicole Brown Simpson is displayed. But it's called The Case for the Defense. So
Okay.
I feel like that's why, like, this is gross. Like, don't do that to a woman who is subjected to domestic violence and then brutally murdered. Even her cleavage is weird. This is very bad. I'm so sorry to. No, I'm not sorry to whoever this person is. It's bad drawing. But anyway, I thought we could look at it one.
Yeah. I think this happy hour is going to be going through that.
But thank you to Harrison. That is Ron. That's what I thought. The bandana. I'm scandalized. I am so upset. It's just gross. But yeah, so it's gross, and Harrison sent it to me, and because he's wonderful, so thank you for this terrible gift. Actually, like, my ex was coming over to pick up my son, and I don't know why, but I've like flipped it over because I had it up on the table. I was like, I just want to talk about it, but I just didn't want to talk about it. So I was like, I don't want him to see this because it's so weird. I don't want him to think like, I don't know.
Does it like just go through like the trial?
I didn't open it yet. I was waiting to do it live, like figuring that would be a fun, fun or like we might end up crying. Like we might end up being like, but it says it's the case for the defense, so I guess it's in defensive.
We'll have to find out together.
Yeah. Which, if you haven't watched The People versus O.J. Simpson, by the way, on Netflix, if it's still there, it's so good. It's so well done. I thought for a while I wasn't into that anymore because it was like so, it was like scandalous when I was young. But then I listened to that podcast that Ron Goldman's sister made, and it's so good, and it like sucked me right back into the whole. And she has a beautiful, she just has some beautiful episodes in there, and it's really, really good. So anyway, I highly recommend it if you want to like remember O.J. Simpson, not remember him, but remember like the whole circuit.
It was interesting for me to watch because I was like 12 or 13 and when it was happening. Mm-hmm. So it just got to me through the culture. And it was all like down through all of that 90s gunk, that was just like so gross. And then to revisit it as an adult and be like, that's what went on? Oh my God.
Yeah, I was 19, I think, or 18. And like I didn't realize all that stuff was going on with the female lawyer. Oh my God, why can't I think of anyone's name? Marsha
Clark.
Why don't we say Marsha Gay Harden? That's another person.
She's also beloved.
Yeah. She does all that SVU stuff. Yeah, it's Marsha Clark. I didn't realize like everything that was going on with her during it, and like just everything. I didn't see the whole scope of it. I didn't really understand. What do you understand at 18 or 19? Not much. Unless you're watching and you're 18, 19, you know everything. I'm so sorry to judge you. But I think I just didn't understand what like domestic violence was. Like I didn't have any frame of reference for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
same.
I didn't get it the way that when I heard the full story as an adult, I was like, oh my God, this is so much worse than I ever imagined it to be. And like when you hear the tapes of her calling 911 when he's abusing her, when you hear him in the background, you're like, how could anyone listen to that and think he didn't have anything to do with it? Like it's bad shit.
The 90s were a weird decade. Yeah. They were weird. There was some weird shit going on.
It really was, and I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah. It was so toxic. The 90s and early 2000s were so incredibly toxic.
Yeah, but it didn't feel that way.
No.
I still have nostalgia for like grunge music, and like when I watch Gilmore Girls and they have all the 90s fashion, I'm like, oh, I remember wearing that, like I
remember skinny scarves.
Yeah. And like bootleg pants and like all that stuff. Yeah, so like there were some good, My So-Called Life, like there were some good things. Seinfeld, but then yeah. Harry, how old were you? You were probably a lot younger.
For the OJ trial, I was like 8. So
okay. You didn't know at all.
It was something like adults paid attention to. That's pretty much my frame of reference for it.
Yeah, it's good that that's good. 8 is too young to know.
Yeah.
That kind of it's very dark.
Yeah. And we are just gonna turn to dust and blow away then.
Wait, what did you say?
I said we're just gonna turn to dust and blow away. It's so funny being in the comedy scene in Philadelphia. I was always like, "Oh, you're so much younger than me." Okay, interesting. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, some of my closest friends are like so much younger than me, but it's just like we're on the same wavelength or whatever. But it's humbling for me because I was never the oldest until I did I was always the youngest, and then I did comedy, and I'm like, oh, I am the oldest by a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah, I like somebody at my job the other day called me kid, and I'm 32, but that like made me the happiest I've been in a while that someone called me kid. So
nice. Yeah. No one called me kid and I don't know how long.
Back when we showed our faces in stores, they used to card me at the liquor store and go, "Oh." Like, that's right. That's right. Although apparently I heard the lady on exit 38, the lady at the canals on exit 38 in New Jersey just does that to everyone, which
make them feel
thank you for your service, ma'am.
Bless her.
Bless her.
I don't like it when people call me ma'am. That's when I'm like, hey, I only just started to look old. I was like, I was okay for a long time. So stop calling me ma'am. I don't like that. Makes me
Oh, hi, Lizzie. Call me a baby-faced angel. He's an actual baby. So, that's lovely. Thank you. That's lovely. No, I always think about you and I think about like cool people in comedy who I didn't realize are so much younger than me. Yeah. Who knew? Cool people come in many ages.
I didn't.
No. I thought they were all the same age as me.
In fact, I didn't realize I was old until I did comedy, and then people were like, Gen X, hang it up. I was like, damn, I don't think I'm that old, but like people really, because the people are really young, and then they make you feel like you're like a dinosaur.
Yeah. Oh, Lizzie says she's actually 60. I love it. Thank you. As a 75-year-old, that makes me feel so much better. You just gotta get those tears, those children's tears, and just like rub them on. But I think we've monopolized. Yeah, we're okay. It's time for Harry.
Talk. Like we can
we invited him on,
and then we were like, "Just kidding. We don't want to hear your stupid story. Bye."
No. I just want to look at your face. No, so Harry told me what he's doing, and I'm excited because it's an old timey one.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that you posted that, and I was like, "Oh, this is Andrea's whole thing. She loves an old timey."
I like costume period piece. Yeah.
And you're really into baseball, aren't you, Harry?
Yeah, that's how I came across this. Okay. I came on a baseball history podcast.
Oh.
And it was funny because they came in with the introduction. It was like, look, we're not like a murder show, so we're not really going to focus on the murder part. We're just going to focus on like his life more in baseball, and like kind of like they'll tell you what happened, but not really like. So I'll do the other way here. I'll try not to be
otherwise I would turn
on the baseball part. Yeah.
Yes. We want the murder show version.
Yeah. So
exciting. Go for it.
All right. So my story is about Marty Bergen. He was one of the most prominent baseball players in the late 1800s. And on January 19th, 1900, Marty murdered his wife and 2 children before committing suicide.
Oof.
So,
wow.
So this story is going to be how we got to that.
So he's a family annihilator plus a murder-suicider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Because we talk about family annihilators a lot, but we usually talk about the ones that leave, that fuck off to a new life.
That are narcissistic and they're like, I was going to kill myself, but then
I ran out of time.
Then I thought about it and I decided I really wanted to live.
But only after killing everyone else.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah.
So I'll jump in. All right. So I'll just start from the beginning. Marty was born on October 25th, 1871. He was one of 6 children. And not surprisingly, as a young lad, he took to baseball. And as a kid, he was on a team of altar boys put together by his priest.
That's so old time.
We'll let that one.
It could have been fine. It could have been fine.
I'm sure it was.
It could have just been super Catholic.
Yeah.
That's an incredibly Catholic thing.
A lot, I mean, I know that I'm always like taking the other side, but a lot of priests are into like baseball or fishing, or like I find that they often have that interest in sports. So it's not, I don't think it's unusual, especially at this time period. Like you're not going to have like probably dads stepping up to be a coach because they're working all day out in the
on the railroads, etc.
Whatever they're doing, whatever dads are doing.
We're basically like scout troop leaders at this time too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So he was known for, even as a kid, when he would play baseball, he would periodically have tantrums. And if someone else got more applause than him from the crowd, he would storm off the field immediately.
Oh my God. What a dick. What a diva.
So
was he not his mom's favorite? Is that what we're getting here?
You'll basically learn that Marty Bergen is like every problem improviser you've ever done.
Love me, look at me, like me,
only me.
Yeah. So he plays he gets involved in like minor league baseball, and he gets discovered by the team, the Boston Bean Eaters, which is great because it sounds like a slur you would use for someone in Boston. So that wasn't their official name. Baseball teams at this point in time, they were just called by their city.
So it was a slur.
It would be like the Bostons. You'd have like the Chicagos, but like sports writers would come up with like weird names for the teams, and they would stick. Like at this time, the Chicago Cubs were called the Chicago Orphans. So yeah, you had the Chicago Orphans, you had the Boston Bean Eaters. The Phillies were the Phillies because they just shortened it from the Philadelphias.
Yeah.
So they just called them the Phillies.
And the Phillies never changed it. They're like, this is fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
They, on a bit of they almost changed the name to the Blue Jays, like in the 40s, but it didn't stick.
Yeah, that doesn't feel right. Yeah.
That's a whole.
And then they lost the World Series to the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
It's not tough enough, I think, for the Phillies. You got to have.
It's not. No. You got to have a bird of prey. Although Blue Jays are dicks.
But I wouldn't know that offhand. I feel like it's just got to be Phillies, like how the Flyers are like the Broad Street Bullies. Like I feel like you have to have like a tough kind of.
Yeah, that works.
They're dicks.
So he's moving along, and he meets his wife, Hattie Gaines, in 1893, and they get married. So they have 3 children. And I will get to what happened to the other child, Martin. But so he's 5. There's a girl named Florence.
Oh.
And there's a little boy, I believe his name is Joe. So those are his children.
What state was this again in, Harry?
This is in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So he ends up playing in Boston. And so things are going well. Like he's a great player. He's considered at this time to be the greatest catcher in the history of baseball.
Oh.
Now take that for a grain of salt because it's the late 1800s and baseball's only been a thing for like a couple decades. But still, he's very good. He was called by a writer. He's the kingpin of catchers.
Oh.
So there you go.
Okay.
But he would have mood swings, as we remember from as a child, and they would continue into his adult life. And I'm looking for a story here that illustrates that. 1 second, I have it on my iPad.
That's fine. This is the Gina move.
So yes, I apologize.
Hey.
It's okay. It's fine.
This is shit on Gina night.
No, it's so interesting that usually I am like, whatever, I'll figure it out, I'll do it. And then when it comes to this, I write out every word. But go on.
I'm an improviser at heart. What can I say?
I thought I was too.
So we have a scene in a hotel room in St. Louis. They're on a road trip in St. Louis, and so on the train, and they're sharing a train with the team from Brooklyn, which I believe are called at this time the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. That's a real name.
Oh my god, I love it.
So weird. What a dumb name.
And on this train, there's a pitcher for Brooklyn. His name is Vic Willis. And so, you have different teams. So there's a bit of some bros being bros sort of situation going on. Like they're sort of like mocking each other, ribbing each other, if you will. And apparently this is all supposed to be in good fun, but Marty didn't like it. Somebody said something to Marty he didn't like. So
he couldn't take it. He couldn't take it.
He growled. It says he growled at Willis. That's like a quote. I don't know if that meant literally growled or like figuratively growled, but that's a quote that I saw. But everyone kind of knew this is Marty. You kind of you stay away from Marty when he's in one of his moods. Mm-hmm. So the next morning, they come down for breakfast in the train, and Vic Willis, he sits down next to Marty for breakfast, and Marty says, "If you don't get away from me, I'll smash you, sure." So Vic Willis didn't move.
Why should he?
Yeah, he wants breakfast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Marty reached over and slapped him in the face in front of every. So
like slap, like
an open hand slap.
Oh no!
God, what a piece of work!
Is this the first time he's been like physically violent with someone that you saw that, or
this was like
that other people saw?
There were like little other incidents when he was coming up through like minor league baseball, but this one seemed the most like, this guy is has a problem.
Yeah.
So basically, other people intervened, so they stopped this like big train brawl. But there's a quote here because someone tried to like talk Willis, the guy who got slapped, into just sort of letting it go. And here's a quote here. It says, "If Bergen makes another break at me, we'll settle the question of which is the better man."
Oh so my!
That's like, fuck around and find out in like
old timey slang.
It's interesting. So okay. So I'm trying to put it together. So when he was younger, it was about not having enough attention, and then when it was older, it was about like what precipitated it. Somebody was just like making fun of him. What was the thing that started it?
It seemed like it was just kind of like, how like guys get together and like tease and like make fun of each other just in like a, like a guy way. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like you've been around men. Like I don't.
Yeah, just like teasing.
Yeah. he couldn't take the like jockeying for position.
Yeah, so
he needed to be on the top. Yeah,
he's insecure. Then he's very insecure.
Women know men like that.
I'm sorry, I don't know any men like that.
But we can smell them a mile away.
Yeah, that's interesting to see I was just thinking of the growth of like how it manifested as a child and how it became. He's just super insecure. Like he wants to be the center of attention in like love, like loved without question.
Yeah.
So this happens in 1898 as my cat shows up.
Oh,
hi, cat! Everyone's cat makes a cameo. Yay! We're so glad.
Oh gosh, but I'm so sorry to say this, but last time, as soon as I hung up, Bodhi got up here. I was like, Bodhi, you're late.
Yeah. Sorry if anyone missed.
But before we sign off,
I know.
Sorry.
There he is. Here he is.
Yay! Cat butt. Hi, oh. We love him. He can sing.
So they finish the season, and Boston wins the pennant, even despite having all this. Like, Marty's very good, and so they sort of put up with it, like an improv team puts up with.
Right.
Not unlike that.
Yep.
Look, all right, and he just took off. So
improv, it's like I feel like every profession, everything has some like a guy like that.
Yeah.
I know one in like every venue. Yeah.
So 1899 comes, and Marty has more problems. His wife becomes ill with tuberculosis. That's
bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And in April, his first son, dies of. Hold on. I lost. But diphtheria. That's it.
Ooh.
So
he died of some terrible things back then.
Yeah, diphtheria is pretty terrible.
Yeah. Is there another name for it? Because I know. Is there another name for it? Diphtheria?
I don't know.
Not that I saw. No.
Okay.
So yeah, Marty, he felt guilty because he was away from his while this happened.
Slapping people.
Yeah.
He was busy slapping people.
So he took 2 weeks. He took 2 weeks off, and then he rejoined the club, but he went into a downward spiral. And so he disappears from the club over and over again. He would just disappear. He wouldn't tell anybody, and he would go back home to his farm where he lived. And he would also he'd have a hip injury at the end of 1899, so that it's not, we don't know for sure if that was a cause that maybe he saw the end of his baseball career.
Yeah.
Trying to see here if there's more stuff before we get to the
bad stuff.
Yeah. There was another incident, and I'm trying to see, because he before he leaves, he has a psychotic break.
Oh my!
While during the game, so whenever they would throw like a pitch at him for him to catch, he saw it as someone throwing a knife at him, so he would dodge it.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Yeah.
Alexa, stop.
So, and I always I wondered how many times did they throw him the ball before they realized something was wrong and we should get this guy
We had
away.
video of this. just to see like what,
Like, yeah. So, and then the next day there was a headline in the Boston Globe, very kind that they are. It says Bergen makes a farce out of the catcher position.
Oh no.
So that did not help.
People back then, as far as I know, were really understanding. Like,
Oh yeah,
any
yeah,
kind of illness, any kind of mental health, they were just there for you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So progressive.
Yeah.
yeah. It's a great time.
And it smelled amazing.
Oh my gosh. Mm.
So
Love it.
so there's another story here about he confides in a sports writer in
That's
Cincinnati
a great idea.
named Harry Weldon.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, like, Boston is in the race to win another pennant. Like, they're still good, and they're putting up with all this stuff.
Oh my God.
Like, so the sports writer asks him, "Do you think you'll win the pennant in I think it's 1899?" And Bergen says, "We'll win the pennant in a gallop. It'll be a cinch, but it won't make a damn bit of difference to me whether we win or not." So the sports writer asks him, "Why do you say that?" It's because I won't be with this bunch much longer. I'm going to quit them. I'm tired of traveling with knockers and backbiters. They are all giving me the worst of it. I'll shake the gang just as soon as we get to Boston. So he wants out.
That's a great thing to tell a journalist.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful
It doesn't
idea.
seem like he cares though. It's not like he's
Right.
like trying to hide it probably. I mean, this guy was ducking knives, not too much.
Yeah.
And he just seems like he open-handed slapped another man. So I feel like he's just like whatever. But I wonder what his mental health issue was. Like if it was rooted in, sorry, I'm following the psychological like, thread.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it was there all the time from when he was a kid and he was doing those things, if there's something related to that, or if it's just something different that happened once, like he had a child die and then, like, I don't know. It seems like maybe something was always there because he always, like you said, he was off he was always off.
Yeah, they there's an article in Sports Illustrated that came out about 20 years ago that really dives deep into this, which is great if you want to read it.
I would like that, yeah.
And they talk to like a neurosurgeon, and they basically describe Marty Bergen to this doctor, and the doctor says that he's probably like manic depressive, and like a whole bunch of other issues that would be treated with medication and therapy, and that was not available.
Right.
I didn't mention this, but Marty did try to like get help from people. He reached out. He reached out to his pastor, which that's what you do,
right?
Yeah.
Like he had a doctor. The doctor pretty much only prescribed him like mild sedatives for when he got,
right,
in one of his spells. So this time was just ill-equipped to help him.
Yeah, that's what makes me sad. Like, there's something really wrong, and it was just always there, but people kind of like. Now I feel bad for making fun of it. Not making fun of it, but like it seemed like something was always there, but they just didn't know what to do for him because it's just at that point, and it's just like I'm sure people were like, "Just get your shit together," Like,
yeah, and he tried.
Now it's not different, but it's different.
Yeah. And in that age when there was even more stigma than today in mental illness, he did the right thing and reached out and tried to get help. But there just wasn't any.
Yeah.
Still, you shouldn't slap people and kill them.
No, definitely not.
We understand he was suffering.
But that always presents for me a difficult thing because it's like that when we talked about the Long Island serial killer, the mother of one of the victims her other daughter killed her, and she had mental health issues, and she told so many people, like, I'm sick, I'm gonna kill somebody. Like, she said it so many times, and like people just like, you know, she would get treatment and then they would let her, like, no one really was listening to her, and she ended up killing her mom. And it's like, it is her fault, but at the same time she was asking for help and saying, like, I'm gonna hurt somebody, and people were like, okay. And then she did, in like the most gruesome way. So I do have I do feel differently about folks like that, just because, like, especially if they reach out and they're like, something's wrong, and they don't get the help, then it's like they even if they know right from wrong, who knows what is going through their mind when they're
right.
It's different than John List, who was just like, this family's not working out, and I'm not making any money, so I'm just gonna get rid of them and get a new family. Like, it's not the same. Sorry, Harry.
Go on.
No, that's great. So like I said, he tries to get help. He reaches out to a doctor, and he tells this doctor that he thought someone in baseball had found out that the doctor was his physician and arranged for him to be poisoned. So now he's paranoid. He's seeing knives being thrown at him.
He's not taking his meds because they're poison.
Yeah, and his meds are mild sedatives, so they're not helping.
He's not taking his half an Ambien.
Yeah. And there's a quote here. He says, "I did not take they're called bromides, is what he was given." He's like, "I did not take it from my wife because I didn't wish hers to be the hand that poisoned me," which is sadly ironic.
Yeah.
But
it makes sense though. Like, it all fits together. The paranoia, like, it all it's so sad. Ugh.
And he told his doctor that in the times that he would leave the team, he did it because he feared that the players on the team were trying to kill him. And when he would walk home, he'd walk sideways through the cars so he could see people coming from any direction.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's just incredibly paranoid.
That is calling out. That is the definition of, like, calling out for help and not getting it, you know?
So his wife Hattie is not getting any better. The doctor comes to their farm, which I failed to mention. Their farm is called Snowball Farm. That's where Marty lives. So the doctor comes to check on Hattie, and she's lying on the couch, and Marty is he's freaking out, and he shouts to the doctor, "The sight of that blood is driving me crazy." So I guess she's coughing up a lot of blood.
Yeah, that's TV for you. Harrison wants to know. Harrison thinks maybe he's a paranoid schizophrenic.
Sounds a little bit like
Yeah. So on January 18th, so we're gonna get up to the murder. So this is January 18th. The murder takes place on January 19th, so we're at the day before. He comes across a neighbor, Mrs. Collins, while he's taking his children to get their mail. This was a big event to go and get the mail, because they're on like a rural farm, so they would hop in like a sleigh or whatever and go check the mail. This is like a big thing. And Mrs. Collins said they're actually on a horse, I should say, not on a sleigh. But here, Mrs. Collins would say, "Hello, here comes Farmer Bergen." So it's this nice little neighborly meet and greet. We remember this the last time we talked to our neighbors, and it was great, wasn't it? A year ago. So Marty asks Mrs. Collins, "What kind of farmer do you think I'll make?" And she says, she says, I think you'll be a very good farmer. And it's just like a little anecdote that this like this crime was not like thought of like premeditated for a very long time. This was like a very sudden crime because the day before he is out with his kids and he's talking to the neighbors and he seems fine because all like through all of this, it seemed like all he ever wanted to do was just go home and be with his children and his wife. So we don't know.
Yeah.
But so we get to the morning of January 19th, and Marty's father lived nearby, so the father stops by early in the morning, and no one answers the door, so he doesn't think any of it. So he goes away, and he comes back. Well, I'll go back here. Hold on. So Marty gets up at 5:30 in the morning to make a fire, and he goes out to like chop wood. So he's got an axe with him, and so we don't know what happened, what triggered, if he had some sort of hallucination.
Yeah.
But so he's out and he comes back in to the house with the axe. Hattie is in bed, and the two kids are there too. And let me see. I want to make sure I get this right. I'm not trying to like build up suspense or anything. So first, he attacks Hattie, and he hits her multiple times in the head with the blunt side of the axe.
Oh, not the axe side.
Blunt side.
Yeah, the blunt side.
That's
so she falls and she dies. Then he goes after Joe next, the son who tries to run away, and he hits him once with the sharp side of the axe, and he dies in the other bed. And then he goes after Florence, the little girl, and Florence hides behind a wooden chair in the kitchen. So he swings the axe once. He hits the chair. He misses Florence, but he eventually he does, like, he hits her multiple times in the head with the blunt side. So he kills Florence.
Do we know how old they are? Do you know how old they were, the kids?
Joe was 3, and I want to say Florence was 6. They're very, very young children.
Yeah. Oh no!
And I believe the child that died of diphtheria was 5, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So Harrison's also wondering about the catalyst.
Yeah.
Like the sudden violence. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those mysteries because
I mean, it could be if he was seeing axes thrown at him with baseballs. Like it could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't.
Paranoia, like.
Yeah, it's another layer to the story of the family annihilator because there's such severe mental illness there that it opens up the number of things it could have been.
Yeah,
which makes it more a shame. It's just a shame.
Yeah, because we don't even know. Like, for all we know, he could have thought he was protecting them,
right,
from something. You know, like, oh, these people are trying to get us. So, because if he killed himself, he's either forlorn about what he did, or he's thinking like, "I'm going to protect all of us." We really have. It's almost like it could be anything. You know, be anything. So
yeah, it could be a thing, or he just thought, well, there's no other option.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after he does that, he goes and he retrieves a razor and he stands in front of the mirror in the kitchen
Ugh.
and he slices his own throat so severely that he almost severed his own head.
Oh my God. He meant it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And he fell beside he ended up dying next to his daughter.
Oh my
So
God.
That's so horrible. That's so horrible.
Oh my God.
and they were they were discovered later in the afternoon because his father comes back to check and discovers them all.
Does his family know? I don't know if you know this, but does his family know he's like unwell, or do you know that?
I think I don't think they knew to the extent. Like
Yeah.
I think they knew he had problems,
Right.
but
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
Yeah. Harrison's bringing up the fact that I hate the fact they kill their family to protect them or save them from shame. Yeah, it's so terrible.
Yeah. I really like, I know that I'm not usually like the family annihilator. Like, I'm not usually trying to, like, I have no sympathy for like a Chris Watts, but this guy,
Right.
because we don't know, and because he had seemed to suffer before, I'm just very, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to say the things I would say about like a Chris Watts, just because mental health is so complicated.
Right.
And he's clearly just a really sick person.
Yeah.
I don't know, like anyone, to me, anybody who hurts like a little child, I can't, a child or an animal, I can't fathom it. Like it's the opposite of nature. I feel like to hurt a child or like an animal. I don't know. I mean, I guess like people hunted animals to survive or whatever. But like to me, when you're looking at like the sweet little face, I like it goes against nature to hurt a child
Yeah.
on any level, you know?
Yeah.
so I don't have much left after. There's a quote from his doctor in the aftermath of this. He repeatedly commented that Bergen was insane and a maniac, and he basically said it's not my fault.
Cool.
So
Cool.
yeah, it's a lot of
Right.
like hand washing here. Of
Listen, I gave him the bromides. What
Yeah.
else was I supposed to do?
yeah,
And I like his clinical terms. Insane.
yeah,
Like, so.
yeah. He
Yeah.
basically said he's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Is pretty
Yeah.
much what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, Harry
So
was saying that there's narcissism there when you are a family annihilator. I agree.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there was definitely seemed like there was some narcissism with this guy, but now I'm just like wondering if it was today, if he would have been treated, you know?
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I know this is like adjacent to the story, but I'll never forget an old Oprah episode that I watched, which was like 100 years ago. And there was a guy on there who was just like a regular family man. Like, no, it wasn't like this guy where there were like things throughout his life. He was just not like whatever, regular guy. And then at one point, he becomes violent. He like becomes crazy. He's like stalks his ex-wife. He's like doing all these things that are just like completely out of character. And they're like, they get divorced. Like she has, I think, a restraining order against him. Like all this stuff. And then they realized that he had Lyme disease, and it was
Yeah.
making him do all these things. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that made me like, holy shit, because that guy wasn't a narcissist. He was just like sick in the brain, right? So it's just like it's hard to say because like it seems like this guy's different. It seems like he had lifelong stuff, but you just don't know. And like in the 1800s, maybe he drank something, maybe he ate some bad meat. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be. It could be Lyme disease. Yeah. Yeah.
there was a thing I didn't mention it. He was a constant chewer of tobacco, and his doctor diagnosed him with tobacco heart, which basically he tried to get him to quit tobacco because it made him feel anxious all the time.
Oh, okay.
But he never did. It didn't take. But
That's interesting.
I did enjoy tobacco heart.
Tobacco heart.
I would love a deep diagnosis on this guy. I'm just so curious. And I wish I knew my 1800s history better to know like what was going on in the world at the time, like really like to set the stage for all of this.
I have an interesting fact. It doesn't really. It's sort of tangentially related. So this is 8 years after the Lizzie Borden
Oh.
deal, another like famous axe murder in Massachusetts. So this did kind of like get people's attention of why.
Like, come on, Massachusetts.
Yeah. So the next day, they go obviously to bury the bodies, and not a lot of his teammates show up.
Oh no!
I'm not trying to like make fun of it, but it says that a number of them mistakenly thought the service was on another day. They pulled that one. It was like, oops, we thought this was on Sunday. We didn't go. I'm sorry. What are you gonna do?
And they also didn't have the benefit of hindsight. Like, it's happening in real time then. So they're just like, this guy murdered his family. Like, he was a dick. Like,
I mean, yeah, but they could have just said that. Like, they didn't have. They could have, like, we would have understood.
Like, he's not around to slap you anymore.
Yeah,
you can tell the truth. He was a dick.
But maybe they just felt like, we don't want to be honest about that because
there's that convention of not speaking ill of the dead.
Yes.
So
because I'm going to tell a story that maybe paints me a little unflatteringly, but I once worked with somebody whom I just didn't like and didn't like me, and then they died, and like I felt bad as a human being, but I never liked him, so it was hard for me to get like sad personally. And I didn't wish him ill. It's just like it didn't shock me or hit me or anything. And he was sick for a long time. But I was talking to Olivia about it because she works in public health and she's seen things like this. And she said, just because someone dies, it doesn't make them a good person. Like,
exactly,
you can be a good person and die. Like,
everyone dies, even terrible people.
Because I was like, this person was really antagonistic to me and really like hostile and upset me a lot. And so like I wasn't happy that he died, but it just didn't fully impact me because like he was nice to me especially.
Yeah.
So it made me feel like less of a monster when I was just. The worst part is that like he was sick and I was like talking to my friend one day and I was like, oh, how is he? And then like I accidentally hit my broken nail and I was like, oh damn. And he was my friend stopped what he was telling me and he was like, are you okay?
No.
And I was like, I didn't mean it like that. It looked like I was just like so, but I didn't feel that. Like I didn't wish him ill and would never wish another person like an illness or something like that. But it's true, like you can't feel deep compassion for everybody. And if somebody was unkind to you or you thought they were a murderer, I mean they were a murderer, you probably would be like, oh, I don't feel good about that. But maybe you just don't want to say that out loud.
Yeah. I can tell you there are a non-zero number of people who when they die I'm going to be relieved and have felt relief when certain people died. Mm-hmm. So yeah, everyone dies, even terrible people.
That's what, and I guess we have a habit in society of like, thinking that we have to put them on everyone who dies on a pedestal, and it's like not necessarily true. Yeah. Man, I really walked a tight line there. Everyone's like, goodbye, bitch. That's I've ever heard. What an animal.
He did have a friend. He wasn't like completely ignored at his funeral. He did have a friend who sent him 28 white flowers with a background of ferns and a note that said, "May these flowers speak a word of charity for Martin Bergen, who has done this insane deed."
Wow.
So, and those flowers were on his casket as he was buried. So
I think
even the flowers from his friend
they still have to mention that he was,
It was like,
they still have to mention insane.
he sucks, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because like his friend had compassion for him because he knew him and probably knew. I think just like all of us. I mean, just as there's somebody who would die and we don't wish them ill, but like we're not gonna start crying. Maybe there's somebody in your life who maybe other people aren't fond of, but you really, like love on a certain level, and so like you might be able to like forgive or understand something that other people can't. So
yeah.
I mean, even Richard Speck from the other night got a pastoral,
he got
prayers over him, and like that's probably the first prayers ever said over him.
Yeah, right. So, if only.
And nobody's sad that he died, but
right. Yeah, grieving, a lot of that stuff is more about the grievers and the people who are doing it saying, this is what we do. We acknowledge humanity, and it's more about who we are than he was.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between like the level of grief you have versus like enjoying like celebrating something.
Well, yeah.
We're not saying that we're going to go out and have a party over it. We're just saying like I might feel worse about this situation than this. And I would feel weird about going. I'm going to say it. I mean, maybe I'm just saying everything tonight, and maybe you won't like me, but I don't think I would want to go to a murderer's funeral. I'd go to his wife's funeral. I'd go to his kid's funeral. I don't know how I'd feel going to somebody who killed their family's funeral. I feel weird about it, to be honest with you.
It's
interesting, but I don't know that I would.
I don't think I would go.
It depends on the situation, because if I was in the Taylor Swift song that I mentioned earlier, I would absolutely go to that funeral and sit in the front and just stare down their family. Mm-hmm. I think if there's an opportunity to quietly be an absolute dick, mm-hmm. then I might take that, and out of pettiness to just like, oh my God, she's here. And then I took all the air out of your funeral. Ha! Now I'm the big story. I'm the ex-wife in red lipstick and cheetah print, not weeping over your grave.
Right. I don't like, unless maybe I was directly related, like if I had an instance where I like it mattered, but like if it was just like someone I knew and they turned out to be a murderer, I'd be like, right. I don't want to get dressed up and waste my time. Like, I know that sounds terrible, but, and then also it feels weird because like, what's the feeling you're supposed to have? It's not.
You can have whatever feeling you want.
It's sad. I know, but I would be like, don't be a hypocrite. If you don't like the person, be true to yourself. Right.
Yeah. So feel whatever you want.
Yeah. I just feel like I wouldn't know how to feel about a murder. I'd be like, I don't like that. I don't know. It would feel
like a random murderer in the news. I wouldn't. But if I was involved, like if they killed my friend and I knew them.
It was Harry. Harry was the murderer.
It was Harry.
See, I'd still go if it was Harry.
Yeah, and we give you flowers.
Yeah, I'd still go. That's weird, right?
We give you flowers.
I would know that there was something wrong.
Yeah,
Harry's not a murderer.
Right. But if I were Shanann Watts's close family, I might get a posse together and just show up at Chris Watts if he. I would think he killed himself.
Though. He's dead, like
Chris Watts. No,
I mean in this scenario.
If he's dead in the scenario, right. I guess it's just to be a dick to their family then. Okay.
So, yeah, and I would rather go out with my friends then. Like I wouldn't want to go around. Yeah,
so you would go out of like spite to like spike the football that the person
exactly.
Is dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I respect that. I respect that.
Sit there front row.
I wouldn't do it though, but I respect it.
Yeah, arms crossed, stone faced.
Yeah,
staring down everyone who enabled him.
I'm just like, my time's too precious. I'd be like, sorry.
Yeah. Harrison would do it. What I was saying we would do if Harry was a murderer. We'd give you a nice floral arrangement. It was like, we liked him so much, Jamie was a dick.
He must have.
No one was more surprised than us.
Oh, you support the family, right? You can't help.
That's true. That's true.
That's absolutely true. Because like, if you think about any monster that we covered, like even if the family was a little bit enabling, like they're still people who like not only did they lose a loved one, but they lost like they lost them twice, really.
Right. They lost their idea of them.
And that's got to be complicated because you still love your family member.
Yeah. And funerals are for the grieving and not the deceased.
The dead, right. I find a viewing, and if I not so much a funeral. Funeral's kind of hard the day that of the mass or whatever the thing, but I find viewings very comforting, and I don't know why. I do. I find it comforting. I find it like I don't have a problem with an open casket. Like I find it like I don't want to say nice, but I find it like healing to see the person and just like in your own way say goodbye. Like a lot of people don't like that part, and that part doesn't bother me. And I don't know if that makes me like psycho, but
no,
and maybe just
that's what it's for.
As a kid, going to like I remember going to viewings as a kid, and so like, it didn't bother me because I just sort of like I guess I saw that before I could think about what it really was. Yeah. And so like when my grandfather died, like I was glad that I could see him. Even though he didn't look like him, like I wanted to see him. Which I know that sounds weird, but like, yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, that's what they're for. So that's an appropriate feeling.
Yeah.
I have been to many funerals for people I didn't know because I was an altar server and they used to pay us.
I
used
was
to get out
too.
of school.
Oh, you did?
I was too. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be like, yes, funeral.
I've been to a lot of funerals. So.
Yeah, those are sad. Like the actual funeral, to me, is the one I don't like. I don't like going to those. But the viewing, I'll go to all your viewings.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I intend to look beautiful.
Yeah. Unless you order. No, it depends.
Okay.
So I have one last thing.
Oh, sorry, Harry.
This one is a small weird tidbit. So in 1938 and in 1939, one person voted to enshrine Marty Bergen in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh.
We don't know who it is, but
only those 2 times and anonymously and then never again.
Yeah. So
wow. Yes, Harrison, you knew we were morbid as fuck before you. That's why you came here.
I mean, yeah, that's
why I wanted to tell you this story, that it was so morbid. I knew you guys appreciate it.
I don't know. I think I'm going to give Marty, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. There's the mental health thing has tripped me up. I might be wrong. I mean, maybe I get to the afterlife and someone's like, you fool.
Like, well, you were wrong about Marty Bergen.
Yeah, now you die again.
No, yeah, I think I agree with you in this case. I think there was such acute, untreated mental illness that there's another layer to it. It doesn't justify, obviously. I don't think anyone would think that, but there's a lot going on there. Yeah.
Again, like,
did he have a mom? Yeah. How do we know how involved his parents were in his life?
I don't know. It seemed there's really no mention of it, so I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary. I know he had a brother, Bill, who also played professional baseball.
Oh, I thought you were going to say was also
a murder.
No.
Oh, they were like the Mannings.
That's interesting. Yeah, because you mentioned his dad in the story, but the mom's not mentioned. It was probably the mom that nominated him when she was like, I mean, if it were me, I would.
39 years later.
He was still a good player, you know.
He was the kingpin of the Bean Eaters. Can't give him the benefit of the doubt. I have mental health. Yeah. So yeah, there's also that, as Harrison brings up, like, and we've talked about that when we talk about sympathy for like serial killers. You do have the onus is on you not to harm people. Yeah. It's
you know why? It's because of the paranoia.
The knives.
And hearing that story about like I was talking about, it was what was her name? Shannon Gilbert's mom, Mary Gilbert. I don't remember the daughter that killed her. But hearing that story and hearing her about like the lawyer talk about her saying like I'm going to hurt people and people not like that's to me it's still wrong what she did, but it was like she knew what she was going to do. And so like I wondered what was going on in his brain and where he was trying to get help. The fact that he tried to get help and couldn't, like, and then then he dies and his doctor's like, what a kook. It's
yeah. It's an intersection. It's not, it doesn't absolve at all.
No.
But
it's complicated. It's complicated.
It's so complicated.
But right, you absolutely don't, like, everyone knows you don't kill another person. It's the worst. There's no reason for it. I mean, it's so easy to avoid it in this life. So easy.
I know. I wonder who nominated him 2 years. I wonder why. I don't know. It's interesting.
Maybe
That's an interesting fact.
didn't know the story. Maybe they just like thought. I don't know.
Well, it's the thing. Like, he only played baseball for like 4 years like professionally. So
it's somebody.
It's not even like he had this long. Like, it's not even you could like make that case. It's like, oh well, he played for 20 years, and you gotta. It's like not even that. He only played like 4 years. It
was like a cousin. It was somebody who felt bad.
Yeah, I mean, he had writer friends, and writers usually vote for that. So maybe, yeah. I don't know.
It's terrible. What a terrible.
Yeah.
It's a good story. Like, I really want to read more about it. 'Cause I'm like, it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
I can't believe that podcast you were listening to didn't want to talk about the murder. That's the whole story.
He only played for 4 years. It's the whole thing.
I know. I would have been like a Good Day podcast.
I came to this baseball history podcast for the murders.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm wondering now. Do you think that he had a traumatic brain injury? Do you think that he maybe got hit in the head with a ball or something? Because look at like
it's possible.
Yeah. And again, not that excuses that, but that's like with football players.
So many of those dudes have traumatic brain injuries. Yeah, and football players who have it can be documented as extremely violent, and or a lot of them commit suicide.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the correlation between your brain and like, and then like it's the same thing. Like, if it's somebody's brain, they can't really help it, but you still don't like them anyway.
They said he had anger issues. Right. Doreen, you're right.
But he could have had a brain injury from childhood. I forgot. I never can remember the name of the serial killer from Florida, but it was the one that Harry was your first show, where he had a brain. The family noted, like, he was a weird kid to begin with, but after he had his brain injury, he was violent. They said, and they said it was like a marked difference from how he used to be, and that he changed because of it. So I guess it could be that he had it as a child, and that's when he started acting weird. Or if he had anger issues as a child, maybe the brain injury later exacerbated it.
Yeah, and like the hallucinations and
thinking someone's going to poison you is not healthy. There's something wrong.
Good story, Harry.
I know.
Good story. Thank you so much. Thank you for telling us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Did you know that this was the story the whole time, or did you just?
I just like stumbled across this. It was like, I don't know, maybe like early March, like right before the pandemic. I heard the podcast, and I did like more research, and I was like, the next time I see Gina and Andrea, I'm going to mention that I heard this story. And then the pandemic hit, so I haven't seen you guys.
And right, you used to do these in person.
Yeah. So I was well, the only chance I'm going to actually get to tell this story is if I go on one of their shows. So
I'm glad too, because it was like an area of your interest. Like, I would never think. A murder, like that would never. I would never probably come across that.
Right? Yeah, we'd never look there. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like a Ken Burns meets true crime sort of.
Right. Yeah, that was so cool. That was so cool. I'm so glad you came on.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love the old, like, I didn't know that I liked historical true crime. I started listening to that Tenfold More Wicked podcast, and it's so pleasing. Like there's so much about like I like hearing what life if it's like you like when it's a good job when you hear like what life was like and what was going on with the person and all that stuff because it's really such a different world. It's people were just so different in the way they react. Even like the quotes that you used are so old timey. But I was like, that's an amazing way to talk. Like I wish I had that vocabulary. So it's just it's cool to learn about.
There was a quote about him, and I kind of want it on my like tombstone when I die. But there was a quote that Marty they said he always carried a fancied grievance, and I feel like that's
He
like
was a petty ass bitch who lived for the drama.
Yeah, so
grievance.
yeah,
Fancied grievance.
Well, I mean, it was fancy to slap somebody. I mean, that's unheard of. To slap,
yeah,
like a punch, like a fight, but a slap is very like very old timey. It's like very, it's kind of regal. Like,
yeah.
That's a wonderful quote. That's a wonderful quote. We'll put that on your flowers at your murder funeral.
Thank you. Yes.
My mom said something tripped in his mind because the day before he seemed positive. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that like manic depression, like the mania kicks in and the day before you're level and then something's different. Like I have those with depression. Some days it's like, why am I so low today? Yesterday I was totally fine. And then like a day or two later, it's like you get up and you're like, oh my goodness, life is grand. It's so weird. It's just brains are weird.
And with I think with bipolar, I think that some people have delusions. See things that aren't there, get paranoid, think like someone's after them, all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, I think I remember reading that might be part of mania. Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of people that I know who have it have had like either hallucinations or like just are completely not thinking clearly at all and and that's the other thing, making very rash and what is it? Like taking risks and being really impulsive. So it could be the kind of thing where he just not that like had an impulsive kill, but something might have like became impulsive in his mind, and then maybe he became compulsive about it.
Right. Yeah.
And if his wife was really sick, that might be. If there's blood everywhere, like from her coughing, that's got to be. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a stressor.
Yeah.
So, we've come to the point where we talk about what we're going to do to decompress after these terrible, terrible things. So, Harry, what are you going to do? What's your weekend look like? What are you and your cat going to do?
We're probably just gonna hang out. We've got some toys for him. I'm just probably gonna watch him just flop around, try to catch a little toy mouse that he loves. So that's all I'm doing.
That's so cute.
Harrison brought up
anybody. That's really nice.
Yeah. Harrison's brought up that there are so many of us in the comedy community who have mental health issues, and it like yes. And if are there any known studies about that? I don't know.
Comedy, I think so.
It's
are there any well-adjusted people that are funny?
Exactly.
Like, I can't.
Exactly.
I once shared that tweet, and it was like, did you have a like a normal, or were you a happy child, or are you funny?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that because comedy also requires you to step outside of the norm, and mental illness kind of forces you out of there. So you're looking at it from a different vantage point, healthy or not. Yeah.
And I think stand-up comedy is like improv is different than stand-up comedy because stand-up comedy is really like your own island, like you're in charge. So like maybe if you felt like there's got to be something too about like not feeling like you fit in anywhere and not being like just feeling like anxious and then getting on a stage and having acceptance. There has to be some correlation there. And I think with improv, it's the same thing, only you feel your acceptance within the group because improv is like funny, like 10% of the time. So it's just,
Right.
it's funny to you, but it's not funny to everybody.
Right.
But like, it's the acceptance of the group and like making something together. So I think it's a similar thing about finding people who accept you and have your back when you don't feel like maybe you have that anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just got to find the art form tailored to your specific mental illness.
Yeah. That's all. Find
Yeah.
a hobby, that satisfies your own mental illness. But there's also narcissism in acting and comedy too.
Oh, there has to be.
I think it's
I
that,
mean, yeah, I was on the radio for 10 years. You have to be a little bit of a narcissist. You have to crack a microphone knowing that there are a million people listening to you and be convinced that they want to hear what you have to say, because if not, you cannot do it well. You cannot do it at all.
Yeah.
You can't go out on stage thinking that that no one wants what you have to give, because you will bomb.
Right.
Yeah, you have to think like, yeah, I belong here. Like, you're like, this is supposed to be happening. So
Right.
it's.
Yeah. I also think that's a difference between improv and, for me, that you have a team to fall back on. So maybe if you're feeling insecure in the moment, everyone else is gonna, if it's a good team, that they're gonna make you look good.
Yeah.
Versus like doing something on your own is really like you.
Yeah.
Like you're funny or you're not, and there's no one that's gonna help you look better.
Well, isn't that why stand-ups like resent improv? Because I don't know if they see it as like cowardly, but that they go out with other people and they go it alone. Is that?
Yeah, there's a rift, and I think that they don't like they don't like the kumbaya-ness of the got your back kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Tina Fey's Bossy Pants, her book Bossy Pants, there's a great kind of delineation of the kind of people that she goes into, like the kind of comedy that is stand-up and improv. And basically it made me think, and I don't know how explicit she is about this theory, or I don't want to like steal it from her, but it made me think that like people can be sorted into stand-ups or improvs. And so stand-ups, they're on when they're on, they're not on when they're not on. When they're on, it's prepped, it's ready, all of the edges are sanded. I mean, hopefully we've seen a lot of bad improv, but like it's practiced, it's this is what it's going to be. There is no deviation. This is what it is, and then it's done. It's probably funny 85% of the time. Yeah. But they can't do it on a dime. Right. Like they have to workshop it. Improv is only funny 15% of the time, but it's always rolling. You can always start, you can always stop. And it's, so it's, and there's no prep. You kind of go out and you live in the moment. So, and I noticed that like with the people that I used to work with in my creative industry, like the ones who needed everything locked down and prepared, and this is what we're going to do. These are the parameters. This is when it ends. And then there's me who's like, no, just open the mic. I'm fine. I'm good. I'll just go. Yeah. And we drive each other crazy if you don't understand that that's what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
You also have to be like really trust that people that you're with. Like you could be in a scene that's bad that's going on, and you're like, I don't know where I'm going to go, but then somebody else can just step in and say one thing and save the whole thing, and everyone who saw that show will remember that one thing and won't remember this, like how the scene was going before it. So there's like, I feel like the safety net is different. For a stand-up, the safety net is preparedness. For improv, the safety net is each other.
Right.
And it's improv, you don't have a team that like really trusts. And,
right.
Yeah.
That's why improv has been so good for me, because it taught me how to trust people, and it gave me a place where trust was the norm and was encouraged and was taught. Yeah, and my team is my squad now. We have a group text that's still going. And so I was telling my therapist when I first started improv, I was like, every single woman who has been gaslit by an abusive partner should do improv, because you go out into a scene and you say, this is a towel and I'm folding it and doing the laundry, and men have to believe exactly what you say. Like you get to create the reality and they have to believe you, because if they don't, they're doing it wrong. And it's amazing. It's amazingly liberating.
Yeah. I think for me, yeah, like my connections, it's been interesting because like there were a lot of times I made connections with people that later on I thought we were better friends than we were. Like I was burnt a lot. So I like
Yeah.
overly trust people that I shouldn't. I have that problem, like just overly forgiving and trusting. But I learned that it's okay for me to be weird. Like I've
Yes.
always been trying to not be weird and stand out. And then I'm like, no, I'm weird. It's fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, and to like the yes and to be like to be more positive and listening and accepting of things instead of like right away being like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So for me it's been like more like interior and like trying to develop self-confidence because it's hard for me to have self-confidence.
How about you, Harry?
Yeah.
Well, I told my therapist I was doing improv, and she didn't really know what it was.
Oh no.
So I explained it to her, and I always remember the look on her face. It was like, "Oh my God, why would you do that?"
Oh my God.
I was like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "I like it." It's just like, "Oh, okay." Well, I guess because like I explained it of like, well, you go out in front of an audience and you kind of just make things up and you see what happens.
Yeah.
Like maybe I didn't explain it that well. So that's what I always think of when I think of a therapist and improv. But
Oh.
yeah,
Um,
but no, like I had all that. I feel like it's because I haven't done any sort of improv in 9 months. Andrew, you're on a team, right?
yes, Smoke
Uh,
Break Improv. Follow
yeah,
us on
so
Twitch.
I feel like that's kind of like slipped away now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna find it really hard to go back and do it again. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I've like retired out of improv because I haven't done it
Oh.
so long.
Oh.
Well, Harrison's here to
Uh,
prop you because you're
Yeah,
great. We think you're great.
Harry is very funny. Very,
I
very
think
funny.
we're all on pause right now. I'm very lucky to have gotten cast in a show that's still going. And it's interesting because a lot of the people on my team I've never been in the same room with.
Oh, that's
But
weird.
yeah, like Lizzie from earlier in the stream, but like we get along so well and we have this great like energy and camaraderie with the team. Yeah, I'd say like probably more than half of them I've never been in a room with.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
neat. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Maybe we should do a Twitch jam.
I
We
know.
could do it on Zoom and like let people in.
My mom made a quote. I don't know where it's from, but it says, "Masking genuine grief with comedy is a well-known and well-studied coping mechanism."
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because it's easier to laugh, like and or like I don't know if you guys had this experience, but like when I felt uncomfortable, I would make a joke
Yeah.
rather than like say something like vulnerable. It's easier to make a joke and make people laugh than like or make yourself the butt of a joke than it is to like.
Mm,
So I always like to make other people laugh because it was like an acceptance. Like I didn't have to worry about I could like
yeah.
put things aside by making people laugh or saying
Yeah.
things that are weird.
Yeah, I would always lean on self-deprecation.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
your
re-
mom sent you the article.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
Yeah. We'll post it. We'll post it.
Thanks,
Cool.
Mom.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, self-deprecation works because people think.
I have always seen laughter and joy as an act of defiance.
Hmm.
And it seems so terrible to a lot of people because a lot of times when something terrible happens, I will find something funny about it. Like the day I got fired, I was making jokes on Twitter. Because I I think that your joy is the last thing that someone can take from you. So
Hmm.
if you like I tell people like I would laugh in the face of the devil because that's what I see as a weapon and fighting back. And I remember after the election of 2016 and a lot of stuff was going on. There was a lot of turmoil around that whole time and people were like, how do we get on stage and be funny? And I was like, I feel more like I have to get on stage and be funny because it's resistance. To have joy in the face of everything that's going on means that they didn't take everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't get me. You didn't get me. I can still laugh. So that's kind of my deal.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine comes from just deep insecurity. I always like, and the thing is, like, I can't, like, I'm always saying the wrong thing too. Like, I'll make a joke and it's so inappropriate. I'll either make a joke or talk about murder at the worst times because it's like my go-to defense. Like, if I haven't said anything in a while and I feel like I need to say something and I don't know what to say, like, I'm either going to make a joke that's like very inappropriate or I'm going to start talking about murder or both. And it's not good, but I have so much social anxiety. Like, I just mostly feel like I want to die when I talk to people. Like, I don't want to be around a lot of people. I don't like talking to people. And so, like, that's my way of, like, doing that.
Yeah.
If I'm really uncomfortable,
yeah,
it's a lot of movement.
Yeah, I mean, the downside to me is that people can be like, "You asshole, we're sad." I think that I will die cracking a joke about it because I'm just like, this is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
This is stupid. But yeah, I've learned when to keep it to myself.
I wish I could learn that. Yeah, I don't have a filter. Oh. And I always feel like I'm disappointing people. It's just my natural, like, that's my default setting is disappointment. Like, I am a disappointment. So, like, that's my way of, like, sort of coping with that. Yeah. Like,
what if you, like, just didn't care if they were disappointing because that's on them?
That would be great.
Like, fuck them.
Yeah, that would be
great. Disappointed? That's on you.
I have dreams. This is how screwed up I am. I have dreams that people are mad at me. Like, my dreams are not complicated to, like, some people like need a dream journal because their dreams have to be figured out. Mine are like so obvious. Like, it'll be a thing and I'll be like, my mom is mad at me, or like somebody in my like, and they're so mad at me and I don't know how, I can't fix it in the dream. And it's like, so
oh my God.
And those are like, I would say like probably 80% of my dreams are me.
Oh man,
like, disappointing people because that's
oh man,
that's me. The dream just like literally translates it. So dumb. It's the dumbest. I don't know why I'm like that. I don't know.
That's the way you are. That's the way you are. And you're allowed. I mean, that sucks for your dreams that you're not like flying.
Right. I would rather be flying or like something really cool happen, but mine are always like distressing. I've always had distressing dreams.
You should try lucid dreaming. You can teach yourself lucid dreaming.
I think I told you, like, my grandma had distressing dreams and my dad had distressing dreams. Like, my dad had a dream where he tore the bed sheets for a picnic. My mom, when he was married to my mom, and he actually tried to strangle my stepmother in his sleep. Oof. And she couldn't wake him up, and he was like strangling her.
That sucks. Well, your mother says you're saying the opposite of the truth. So however that works for you.
But yeah, like distressing dreams. I think I don't know if they're like, I don't know anything about dreams.
Is that hereditary?
I don't know if it is, but it's weird because my grandma would have dreams. I think my mom will correct me if I'm wrong, where she lost her rings and would like walk around and panic that she couldn't find her rings.
That's common, I think.
I feel like that's like a normal anxiety dream.
That and like your teeth falling out.
Like it was my grandma, then my dad, then me. And I don't know, Jude doesn't seem to have one way or the other. He's kind of young, but I think I had nightmares by the time I was his age. So hopefully.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You need to get to a sleep doctor or something.
Oh my God, yeah.
You need to spark up before bed, man. That'll help you out.
I don't sleep. I
don't either. It actually, pot makes me really sad. So I don't do it. Yeah.
Harry, you've come to the therapy part of the show.
At the end of it, we therapy Gina.
We talk about everything that's wrong with me.
Do you have any issues you'd like to talk about?
I've realized I have an underlying issue, and it was a problem in improv, and it was also I always feel I'm in the way of just anyone trying to accomplish anything, like, and I'll be like in the way. So I have to get out of the way, and I have to stay in the corner.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel that. I know that kind of feeling. It's something to get over. Your teacher should have helped you with that. I had a teammate on my very first improv team who wouldn't come out at all during shows unless I brought her out. So, but like this is when we therapy you. You have every right to be there even if you're in the way. You have the right to get in the way. That's called sharing focus. You're allowed.
Yeah, you're always funny. So
yeah.
You know what I wonder, Harry? You're really quiet. Is that just your personality to be like kind of like? Is that like part of just who you are? Like
yeah. I'm always just. I've always been quiet, so
that's nice.
But devastatingly funny.
Yeah,
that's not a joke. That's not a joke. Yeah,
thank you. It's
we
very
quote
kind.
you. We quote you on the stream sometimes. That one time, you said something like, we were talking about society or whatever. It was another mental illness episode, and you were just like, "Isn't it amazing that we just don't know what to do with people who are sad?"
Yeah, you were. Yeah, so you said you don't even know what to do with sad people, because we were talking about like serial killers, and you were like, "We don't even know what to do with people."
Yeah,
and I was
like, Harrison likes that you're just chilling, laid back. Which can, like, social anxiety can present itself as being chill and laid back if you just don't ever talk. But inside you're like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not chill inside. But.
Yeah. Just, remember, part of sharing space is knowing that you're allowed to take space sometimes. And everyone should give you space because it's your team too.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else while we're here?
This is helpful because I haven't seen my therapist since like June, so this is helpful. Yeah,
they're not doing virtual
time.
Yeah, they are. I'm just I've fallen away from that. I have to get back.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's hard in the pandemic. I mean,
honestly, yeah. These days with my therapist, like, we get on, she's like, "So what's going on?" I'm like, "Literally nothing. Everything is exactly the same as before." And your mom is roasting us. Trying to get a word in with Andrea and Gina can be difficult.
And
I know. No, go.
I feel like with a therapist too, it's like this pandemic is happening to them too, so it's not like they can separate themselves and give you an objective look. Like, they're struggling too.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. It is. You're so right. So like it's kind of like they're just making it probably.
Yeah.
And then they have to
like you're just distracting them from their issues.
That's so true.
Oh yeah, no, you're so Gina. What your mom just said is interesting because trying to get a word in with us can be difficult. Listen, we know, but so you do not do the like typical male thing and interrupt and talk over, and because again it goes back to that, I think that feeling from improv that like I don't want to butt into the space, I want to just let it go, and I don't want to like get in the way of stuff. But there were lots of times when you could have just interrupted us, and probably should have. We would have gotten on track. But and it's fine that you didn't. It's totally fine. But yeah. So you can, if you ever want to practice butting in, we'll let you come back again.
Yeah, just tell me to shut up, and then I'll just be like, I'll be right back.
And then when we go on a tangent, you can be like, as I was saying in 1846.
Yeah.
I get so excited. Yeah. I get so he is a gentleman.
Right, exactly.
You know what's funny is that as much as we rag on some people in improv, I've also just met some of the best guys there. Like, as much as there are not great guys, there's also just a group of people who do it because they are kind and they do work well with others, and they're funny and they're like introverted, and like you blend together because they have all the same qualities that you do. So it's like you get both kinds of people. Whereas like at work, I have my friends at work, but it's not like it's rare that I find a bigger group of guys who are just nice, good, solid people. Right. So you do find that in improv.
Yeah. Improv, you have to like other people and want to work with them in order to be good at it.
Ideally.
Yeah. So, because if you're trying to hog everything, you're not going to be good. So, yeah, I like as much as we rag on men, and I definitely do not trust them. Like, President Company excluded, and in the comments. I in that community, I have been able to finally find like men that I love, like platonically, just like absolutely love and think they're the most wonderful people, and it's been revelatory. Yeah. So that's our therapy session.
And we did it. Also, Andrea, what are you going to do tonight to decompress?
I have one more episode of The Flight Attendant to watch, of the new one.
Is it over? Is it wrapped? Like, you have all the...
I don't know. So when I started watching it, there were only 5 episodes out. And then yesterday they released 3 episodes. So I don't know if it's always going to be, I don't know. I don't know when it comes out. I'm like, what? Which is very like the show. That's very the aesthetic of the show, to not know what's going on.
Okay.
But I have one more episode of the 3 that dropped last night. And then I think there's a new Mandalorian. No, I don't think there is. I think that season's done.
Already? Okay. Jude and I are catching up, so
I don't know.
We're not in season 2 yet.
Can I ask you guys if you watch the Nexium documentaries?
Yes. Which one? I watched both.
I started the HBO one. Can you tell me how HBO made such a boring documentary about a sex cult?
Yeah. So you watched the Stars one first, didn't you?
No,
I feel like we talked about this.
I started with the HBO one, and I got like a little bit through like the second episode, and I bailed. And I looked up the Stars one, and like the reviews were the Stars one gets to the point, like it's shorter, and I enjoyed that one fine. I haven't watched like the last part of it, but the first 3 parts I've seen. But and the HBO one's like 8 parts or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like I have things like I have other things going on. Like I don't need
you.
Like I don't need to hear like the day-to-day details of like that one couple's marriage.
Right. I think that was the thing about the HBO documentary, was because it was made almost completely by people who were in the cult. And so a lot of it was spent like rationalizing and explaining what they did and how they got in and how they got out. And the Stars one was by India Oxenford, and she testified against, or she put in a witness or a harm victim statement against what's his name, Keith Raniere. And so she was one of the inner people, and she had it so much worse. I don't want to say worse, but like it seemed like she had it so much worse. So when she turned, it was like burn this place down. And that's that Stars documentary. Whereas the HBO one is like, look, we were in this, but we tried, and you know, it's almost like if Leah Remini had made the Scientology documentary when she was still in it, but like thinking about leaving. Yeah.
I didn't see because I don't have Stars, but I agree with you, Harry. I stopped at episode 3. I just couldn't get. At first, I was all in. Like the first couple episodes, I was like fine, and then around the third one, I felt the same way as you. I was like really like zoning out and kind of bored. So I don't know. And like I was like really all in on Nexium, and now I'm like, I don't know if I can watch another thing on them. And then I don't know if you heard us talking about before, but one that I highly recommend on HBO is Murder on Middle Beach. We're going to talk about that one next week. It's only 4 episodes. It's so good. It's honestly really, really good.
Yeah, and Harrison recommends the Go-Go's documentary in HBO or in Showtime.
Okay. Oh, there's a new show. So I got Showtime to watch Stephen Colbert's election night show, and then I forgot to cancel it, so now I have another month of it. So I don't know if anyone has watched that new Bryan Cranston show, but that's kind of true crimey. Like his son accidentally kills somebody with his car, and he does like a hit and run, and then he's going to confess, but they realize it's like a mob guy.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if anyone, like I haven't heard anyone talking about it, so I'm kind of like, I should just watch myself and get my own idea. But of course, I want to see what other people are saying.
Yeah, I know.
And then everyone was like, watch The Undoing. And I told you how much I hate it.
You hated The Undoing. Yeah, I haven't watched it, and I might not after this.
No, and I feel bad because
Enjoyed it.
people love it. Like, don't. It's me being exhausted by like that because they liked it on My Favorite Murder. They liked it.
I don't know. Yeah, they liked True Detective too, though, and I hated True Detective. So
yeah, I just felt like
Really? You didn't like True Detective?
I watched one half of the first season and then forgot I was watching it.
Okay.
My deal was, and it's the same thing as Gina's with The Undoing, is just my friend at work was like, you have to watch it. It's amazing. So I went into it like, oh, this is gonna be great. All right, awesome. And I texted him a photo when they do the thing in the police department where they're giving them the notes, and it's just all these old white guys sitting there in the same exact suit and tie, like take notes about this dead woman. I texted him a screenshot and I was like, "Is this the show?" And he was like, "Yeah, pretty much." And it's just like I'm not interested in media where women are either dead or haranguing their husbands.
yeah, that's what
fair.
I'm doing. It's like there's either a woman who's crazy or there's a woman being hurt by, and I'm like, and then, but also, I won't rehash the whole thing, but I made a whole diatribe the other night about how I'm tired of like these perfect, beautiful looking women like a Nicole Kidman that nobody has a friend group that includes a Nicole Kidman. There's nobody. There's nobody.
Well, Nicole Kidman has friends.
She does. That's the only group that includes somebody.
Hers does.
Every single person.
I hope she does.
Yeah,
She does.
I want Nicole Kidman to have friendship.
and I like her, and there's nothing wrong with her. But I just want to see real looking women with like regular. Like I just want regular people. I want my entertainment to be something I can relate to. I don't want to like live in the I don't have ideations of like living in Park Avenue and like wearing fancy like it's I just don't care about that stuff. Like post pandemic or during pandemic, I just don't care about rich people. Like living posh lives, like it doesn't affect. Like it's to me that's dull. It's super boring. I don't care.
So you haven't watched Succession like I did?
No.
It's
Is that
so
good?
It's
Is
so
it good?
good. It's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
But
It's so
maybe,
good.
like maybe the women in there have more like
Yes.
interior lives.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
she's great.
Okay.
She's great. Succession is wonderful because everyone is terrible.
No shade on Nicole Kidman whatsoever. Like I don't want to get wrong. It's just that I want to see people like me.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Short, chubby, like moms.
I get you.
Yeah.
You have every right to see that.
Yeah. And I don't. They're not anywhere. There's no 4 girls from New Jersey. We're kind of, just normal. Maybe men don't want to watch that, but I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Do you guys do you find yourselves like do you push back when someone says you have to watch a TV show?
Oh, yeah, we'll never.
I'm starting to do that. Like when somebody and I try to not do it to other people now.
Yeah.
Like I try not to be like, oh, you have to watch this TV show.
Mm-hmm. I will highly recommend something, like especially like on the show because it's true crime. Like I know that, but yeah, like that's why I put off Game of Thrones for years because I was like, I don't want your Game of Thrones. But then I watched it and I was like, I do love it. But
yeah, no, I don't do the spite non-watch. I consume so much that if something has a critical mass where people are like, oh my god, it's amazing, I will check it out.
I have not watched Game of Thrones because I have a rule. I call it the realm rule, where I don't watch TV shows if I feel like that they have a realm in it.
Oh
a realm,
no!
Or like a goblet or something. Or like,
okay,
you know what I mean? Like
if there's world building involved, you are out.
I like a nice centered world. So that's
fair enough. Star Wars kind of stuff. Like you don't like Star Wars?
I just watched Star Wars over the pandemic for the first time. I watched the first 3 movies, so I get the gist of all the references.
Okay, so 4, 5, and 6. It's from the 70s.
Yeah, the 70s.
Okay.
To me, that's canon. That's the best ones. Yeah.
Oh, Harrison hasn't seen Game of Thrones either? Oh, that's
And that's what
interesting.
people used to say to me, and I used to be like, I will never watch Game of Thrones. I will die. And then I started watching it, and I was like, this is pretty well written.
Yeah. That was my thing. My one friend at the time, she had never seen Star Wars, and she's like, I refuse just because everyone has seen it. I'm like, okay, fine, but you literally cannot get cultural context for like 30% of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, yeah, that was my that was my reasoning. Like, I would say, well, what am I gonna do after I watch it? Tell people about it? Like, they already know about
right.
it. So
You're catching up. You're catching
yeah,
up on stuff.
but yeah, with the pandemic, I had nothing else to do, and I was like, all right, I'll buy Disney Plus just to watch it. So
Yeah. I did it for The Mandalorian because, again, I was out of stuff. I probably never would have watched it because I was like, I don't have anything to watch right now. And everyone else was like, oh, you have to watch The Mandalorian.
One
So I
of
was
my
like, all right.
delights is Disney Plus. Like, we watch so many of the old Disney movies that I haven't seen in, like, because Jude hasn't seen them. Like,
Yeah.
like we had to watch The Little Mermaid. He had no idea what that was. Like, he heard
right.
it, so we watched it, and like surprisingly, he like was like enjoying it. You know, like
Yeah.
because you forget that he hasn't seen all these movies. But
Harrison's never seen The Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
Which, guess what? It sucks.
Yeah.
I had to play.
That's a hot take.
Hot take. Even as a child watching Wizard of Oz, I was like, why doesn't she want to stay in the Technicolor place? They were mean to her on the farm and they were trying to take her dog away. And then in high school, I had to play The Witch of the West, and then my eyes were opened.
I did not like the colored world, the colorful world. I should watch my language. The colorful world. Good God! Don't cut that clip out. It made me sound like a monster. I hated it. I hated Oz. I couldn't wait for her to get home. Yeah, it was like scared me. I did not like how weird. I thought it was too creepy. I just did not.
That was the opposite. Probably because I also did not have a very happy home, like as a child, and safe home. So I was like, what? Something better. Amazing. She could have been Queen of Oz. I'm like, don't get in that balloon. So the colored where Harrison caught you.
The Wizard of Oz, I thought he was so mean. I didn't like how mean he was.
The wizard is a dick. The wizard is a dick. But like, she could have been Queen of Oz. I mean, Harrison clipped it.
I know. You know what I mean. Oh man.
I want to see maybe if the Wizard of Oz is on if it's on Prime, we could watch it with Harrison.
That movie is tough, I feel like.
Oh, it's on Hulu, never mind.
It ages well. Like as a grown up, I don't think you could watch did Star Wars age well for you? You probably didn't love it the way that I did when I saw it as a kid. Harry.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, I get why people like this. So, you know, I think it aged pretty well.
Okay.
Because
I watched it like thousands of times as a kid. Like, it was like on repeat every day, all day. And so like I have this like deep and abiding love that some people, when they watch it in adulthood, they're like, I don't get what you get. And it's like,
right.
You watch as a kid and you love certain things as a kid. Just like, I never saw Grease until I was like in college, and I was like, and everybody loved Grease, and I was like, this is the worst. I hate this movie.
Yeah. If you come to it as a very young person, you like it a lot. And some things you just cannot come to as an adult.
Yeah.
That's why I watched every episode of Full House when I was a child, not when I was an adult.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
I didn't watch the reboot. So
I didn't make it through the reboot. It was nice to watch for like nostalgia, but I wasn't into it for its own sake. Yeah.
Reboots are not good. Sorry.
And so Gilmore Girls. I had that experience with Gilmore Girls. I had like a Through the Looking Glass experience. I watched Gilmore Girls for the first time when I was Rory-ish age. And I was like, this is great. This is amazing. The script is wonderful. It's so like snappy and witty and I love it and I want to move there. And I rewatched the entire thing now, Lorelai's age, plus in advance of the extended like new reboot season that they did.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is stupid. Like, they are annoying. they are probably pissing off everyone in this town. This town is so weird and strict. Like I was like Emily Gilmore forever, team Emily. Who I remember hating as a child when I first watched it. I was like, she's so mean.
She was mean then, and now she's
Right.
like amazing.
I refuse it. You don't, if you're coming to Gilmore Girls as an adult nowadays, you're not going to get anything from it.
And I don't know about you guys, but like since the pandemic, I have tolerance for a lot less. Like pettiness, no tolerance. Rich people, no tolerance. Like anything. Like I used to like mildly enjoy celebrity gossip. Now I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like you're not better than anybody else. Goodbye. Like I don't care anymore about stupid shit that before I was like invested in.
Yeah. Yeah. The world changed.
The world changed.
The world changed.
Maybe I changed.
Maybe. We did.
One thing I'll add about reboots is the Saved by the Bell one is good.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Do I have to pay for Peacock now? That's what it's on, right?
I think it's on like the free version of Peacock.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah.
Why does everything have to cost something? It's making me crazy.
Capitalism, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, they all have to like get their little cut, all the networks.
Yes. Talent, art costs money. Please subscribe to this channel and give us bits.
I don't want to pay for more channels. Like I already know. Like, come on.
I know. It's basically like cable.
But I have cable, so I don't want to pay
cable
more.
Too. I know.
And even if you didn't have it, like all these subscriptions add up. It's really expensive.
Yeah.
I don't. Come on, people.
Well, you've sold Harrison and Saved by the Bell reboot, so let's do that. Yeah. We'll reconvene. We'll talk about the Saved by the Bell reboot on free Peacock.
Tuesday's your story.
Yes. And I got to figure something out. So if anyone has anything they're itching to talk about, holler at me.
Okay.
I'm going to try to find, I'm feeling old timey. I'm feeling spooky. I'm feeling mystery. Mm-hmm. So I have one that's kind of, I half did, but I might look for another one. So
I have
give myself homework.
40 papers to grade. If anybody wants them, I'll just send them your way. All you have to do is
just give them B minuses.
All you have to do is B minus is super generous, by the way. That is a very generous grade.
It's Christmas and pandemic.
Yeah.
How is the semester going? Is it?
I've taught online before, so I have all my classes like prepared. So the preparing was not so bad. The students, if they haven't taken online before, can be a lot. It's just a lot. It's very tiring. Jude's schooling is much harder than because I've done it and I kind of know it, and I'm weirdo. I like being home. But Jude being in virtual school is a complete nightmare. Like I think I posted today, today he must have said my name 500 times.
Oh. Yeah.
And he just he's like, he wants to show me everything, and he's like, but sometimes I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey mom, I need you.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is not how it was meant to be. Like,
right.
Oh my God, it's so hard. So that's the thing I'm struggling with is Jude stuff.
I mean, there will be a day where he will not want to talk to you. So
I know. And that's what I tell myself.
Or I don't know.
Most days I tell myself that, and I remind myself that this is this is the most time we'll probably ever spend together again. And so like I'm trying to remember that. And most days, but like some days like today where it's just all the momming, and just like nonstop, like every 5 minutes it's fine, but it's like I can't explain it. Yeah. It can wear on you a little bit.
No, I get it.
Trying to do anything, like you're just trying to do any little thing, and you can't.
Yeah.
Because and so like I don't do work during the day because I have to help him, which is fine. But
do you? Because you wouldn't be if he was at school.
Yeah. Right. I was wondering, like, how does this work with a child at home? Like, do you like leave them alone and then
the problem is
in a room?
at school, they're in a classroom. There's no other distractions. Like there's nothing. Their toys are not there. Their parents are not there, and the teacher is, okay, everybody open to this book, and if Polly is not open to that book, Polly, open your book. Everybody take your pen out. But at home, they have to be like little business people, which they have no frame of. At third grade, you have no frame of reference on how to be like a responsible little business person who like checks into Google Meets, goes through a checklist, does all, like, she tries and she does a really good job, and he tries, but like it's hard, and it's hard for them to sit from 8:40 in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's hard for them to sit and like go from this subject to this subject and find this, like their assignments will be in two different places, and then like they'll go over it, but then when it gets to doing, like, they're learning multiplication. So like he's asking me, which by the way is like the wrong person to ask. So like it's like stuff like that. Like he can, at school he would have the teacher there and nothing else, but like if I leave him to his own devices, he's like laying on the floor holding like a back scratcher singing a song, and I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on? He's done. He's checked out. He's just like, this is hour 5 and I don't.
Yeah.
So I get it. I couldn't. I hear what the teacher's doing in there, and I'm like, I don't know how she's doing it. She deserves like all the stuff.
Yeah.
You hear the kids asking questions, and she's literally like, she'll answer a question, and then she'll call on somebody else, and she'll answer the same question.
Yeah.
And it's literally like because they all have their hand up, they're not listening.
Right.
And finally she's like, okay, I'm not going to answer this again. And I'm like, I don't know how she's not losing her mind.
One of the teachers I follow on TikTok did a thing. You might have seen this. She put in the instructions of the test, she put at the bottom that for an extra credit point, you had to turn your mic on and meow. And to see who did it. And it was like so funny for the teachers to hear just like meow.
She'll do funny things. Like he said one day she was just sitting there, but she had one of those tiny hands, like to lean on, but she didn't say anything. And so like she said, like, he said like all the kids were like blowing up the chat because they were like, you have a plastic hand, like. Or one day she did like, if you got an answer right, she would put a sticker on her face. And so like she does things that they think are. I hear him like hysterically laughing in there, and I'm like, it's not that funny, but to them, it's the funniest thing in the world.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's hard to do that every day, though.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how she does it, because my students, I'm like, there's the answer. Please leave it. What do you want to know?
So what are you going to do to decompress? Ooh, is it Dateline night?
It's Dateline night. Dateline is on right now. So I'm working on my collages. I've made a self-discovery with the collages, so I'm like doing them differently. Like, I'll show you guys. So before, I was doing them more just like a paper doll like that. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing them, let's see, like more to the person. Mm. So like the face and the hair and everything. So now that I've been doing that, I've been like looking more at the specific picture of the missing person and kind of like making it the same shape as they are. So I'll be like, that's my like relaxing thing. So I'll be doing that and avoiding grading papers.
Cool. Don't grade papers. Give them all B- and move on.
That's too generous. It's too generous.
Well, give them all C's. That's average. That's half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I would say is Tuesday's our show. That you're going to tell the story. Friday, we're going to talk about, whatever. But we, if you guys want to catch up on Murder on Middle Beach, it's only 4 episodes, and we're going to talk about spoilers. And then that Sunday, we're going to have our brunch and watch party.
Yes.
I'll give the titles on.
Oh, cool, Harrison.
Friday. Yeah, that's awesome. I do too. I'll give the titles on Friday so we can decide. But it's all the same. It's like Christmas in Detroit, Christmas in Cleveland.
Chicago,
all the same.
Cool. Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah, so thank you, Harry, again. This was
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Thank you for coming on and doing the story. We will be back Tuesday. In the meantime, follow us, hit us up on Facebook, Insta, Twitter at Crime and Cookies. If you haven't, follow the channel. Subscribe. We love and need subscribers or bits. We like bits too. We are almost ready to do the merch store. So when we do, you'll get a discount for subscribing on cool merch that we're designing. Yeah, have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Do something that is fun, and we will see you Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.